Eyes in the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you. In the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you.
Good morning, and welcome to this impromptu deadline day special Q&A stream with myself, Steve-O. This is all being done from a selfish point of view. Basically, I've got about 40 minutes to spare, and I just thought, stuff it. Let's just do a stream answering any questions that you have regarding today, basically, because today is the big day. As Cameron Rawcliffe has just said, today is the final games of the 2019-2020 season, and I cannot wait to get this day over with so we can all have a blasted break over Salah blanking. It is going to be a huge day today. Obviously, at 3 o'clock, myself, Jason, along with 8 other correspondents, we will be covering all 10 games live for everybody. And it is going to be absolutely fascinating to find out what eventualities will happen. Will Sterling blank? Will De Bruyne beat the assist record? Will Salah finally get me more than an assist? Will Son pay off for my transfers? Are Manchester City actually going to win more than by more than 4 goals? We will find out later on. It is going to be an absolutely fascinating day. I'm really looking forward to it. Like I said, if you have any questions for myself to answer, I'll be more than happy to answer those particular questions. Like I say, I just want to pass 40 minutes or so before I go to the gym. And yeah, there's a lot of transfer dilemmas. I think it's not just Jason, it's a lot of people waiting for this early team news, and I just think you're all mad. I don't think there's going to be that many surprises. As I said to Jason off air last night, I think people are just going a bit... I think the problem with the more time people invest in fantasy football, the more their brains just get smaller and smaller, and the logic just goes out the window, and they just assume that, for instance, yesterday, people saying Trent Alexander-Arnold ain't going to start. Why? Why isn't he? Various other theories going around that, well, some of these teams will bled the youngsters and stuff. Well, I'm telling you now, Dyche isn't. I know Sean Dyche doesn't play youngsters anyway, but he's actually come out and literally said they're not ready. They're not good enough. And we've seen with a lot of teams and their B team players that they're just not good enough. And I think certainly for teams like Man City, who are chasing the 100-goal mark, Liverpool will be wanting to get the 99 points. Could they do it with a B team? Yes, of course they can. I'm not going to lie. It's not exactly impossible. They're up against a Newcastle team which are absolutely decimated with injuries at the moment. You've got other permutations regarding Leicester and Man United. It's so tough to call that game. I was just listening back briefly to our prediction show last night, and Jason doesn't have a clue the way that's going to go. No one has a clue where it's going to go because there's so much riding on it. Essentially, winner takes all for the Champions League. You then got Chelsea versus Wolves. I've predicted Wolves to win that just because I think that they're better suited to the counter-attack. And they've got a really, really good defence. I'm expecting a lot of goals in that game. And you know what? I said it last night, I'm going to say it now. If you want a real differential, Jota. Go with Jota. He's 6.4, isn't he? You know, in a 3-4-3 formation. Why not? Why not in that third striker spot? Because for me, when I look at this particular fixtures coming up today, as I bring them up here, I really only see, for example, when it comes to Arsenal-Watford, I'm expecting, obviously, the usual suspects to be scoring in that particular fixture. You know, the likes of Aubameyang, Lacazette, Pepe may pop up. You know, it's the usual suspects. We're not thick, but I'm not expecting that many goals in that game because Watford have to get something out of it. Now, yes, Arsenal could pick them off and maybe score a hatful, but I don't think they will. And I think that that's going to be quite low scoring. I went 2-1. Chelsea Wolves. I think some of the gems, Pulisic and Jota and Jimenez. Whether Jimenez plays or not, because obviously his wife has now officially given birth. So, you know, will he play? But yeah, Jota for definite could be a punt. Maybe if you're really wanting to, maybe Neves, Traore. So imagine Traore up against Azpilicueta or Alonso. Oh my goodness! I can't imagine what kind of battle that's going to be. I really do think Spurs are going to win quite. I think on here, I think Spurs and City are the two teams which they've got the quality and the potential to score 3+ goals. I mean, I'm stating the obvious with Man City here, but Spurs, I really, I mean, when Benzi came on last night and he had Kane as captain, brilliant choice. I think Kane he's another gem. If you're on your free hit, Kane, Aubameyang, I think, as a front two, if you're doing a 3-5-2 formation, certainly those two, get him in your team. They're the only two real strikers that I'd be looking at. Man City, Norwich, I mean, it could be any one of those 6-7 players that play up attacking wise for Man City. It really could. I mean, I'm covering that game. It's live on TV, so I'm lucky enough to be covering that. But obviously, I'll be looking through my fingers, like, oh God, what's Sterling going to do? The last time I saw Man City play, Sterling had, well, they were pretty poor, Man City, against Watford, but they still came out, 3-4-0 on top, and Sterling with 2 freak goals, basically, but he got the job done. Liverpool, I'm back in Liverpool because of Newcastle's shabby defensive issues. There's something about Salah. And Davey FPL was on last night, and he said, he pretty much clarified what I thought. Very upset with himself that he didn't get at least a goal versus Chelsea in that game, any form of attack and returns. So I'm expecting Liverpool to. I've got 3-1, 3-0 to Liverpool. So I'm expecting that. The other interesting one, of course, is Danny Ings. A lot of people are like, oh, you've got to back Danny Ings. It's not exactly the easiest fixture. Against Sheffield United, obviously, Ings missed a penalty the other week. It was a pathetic penalty. I don't know what on earth he was thinking. I just don't know why he just didn't do a Chris Wood and absolute thunderblast it. Instead, he decides to essentially pass it to Ramsdale, which was very infuriating for myself. So yeah, it's this particular game week. It's easy to choose which players to go for. It's a case of which teams to go for, but which players from those teams. I mean, it's pretty straightforward, really. But let's just see what people are saying in the chat. I know it's an early morning one. Morning, Cameron Rawcliffe's up early. You're panicking, are we? Going into anxiety mode, thinking what's going to happen? Linguistic Llama's here. Llama's going to be one of our correspondents. He's going to be one of the guys covering one of the, well, I'm assuming the crap game. Burnley v Brighton. You're looking forward to that, Llama? For anybody that doesn't know, we are going to be doing a live draw. So we're doing a live draw at 3 o'clock where the moderators or correspondents, whatever, are going to be put into a bingo ball dome, and Jason is going to basically grab one of the balls and produce which match it is for the particular individual that's going to be taking over that game. So Llama, we're all expecting you to get the the rubbish game, but all jokes aside, it's going to be fun. Neil Thompson, good morning. Certainly wasn't expecting this to appear, nor was I. Like I said, I've got a spare 30-40 minutes. I just thought, you know what, I'm going to be a selfish git. I want to make me and Jason 4p. So and I know these are a bit of fun, these streams, you know, they just fly by. You know, it's already been 10 minutes live on air. It's been a bit of fun. I see George. I haven't seen you for a very, very long time. Gabrielle DeRop's here. Morning, pal. Right, so the first, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody that is joining me this morning for this very impromptu stream. Cameron Rawcliffe is not having Sterling too much of a risk. I just reckon if Mahrez starts, which he should, he can go big. It is a dilemma that a hell of a lot of people have got. I've seen a lot of people. Oh, who was it? It was FPL Anderson. FPL Anderson in the Discord was asking a question about, what was it? Should he get rid of Ings and Mane for who the hell was it? I can't remember who it was. Pulisic and someone else. Or should he bring in... I'm going to have to remind myself, to be honest with you, because I've completely forgotten what it was. And I just looked and I was just like... It was Kevin De Bruyne and Fernandes as well, out for Sterling and Summer. I'm going to bring it up for myself to look at, because that decision was so tough for even me. I was just looking at that like, it is impossible, because FPL Anderson's actually doing really well, and I feel sorry for some people that are struggling to choose their teams, especially if they got a good rank. I mean, take Davey FPL last night. I didn't actually specifically say this to him, but I felt sorry for him because he's 8,000th basically, but basically he needs to defend that rank, and he's got his free hit. I've seen his team. It's all the usual suspects. The funny thing is that he's my rival. I find it so funny saying that, but it's true. In the James Bang Mini League, he is my rival. It is my goal to beat him, to be above him in the James Bang Mini League. I feel I want Davey to do really, really well, but you know, he's got to take risks to climb the ranks, but not too risky to decimate his team. And this was what it was. It was Ings and Mane to Kane and Pulisic, or KDB and Fernandes to Sterling and Pulisic. So essentially it's Kane or Sterling. It's so tight that Mane I understand getting rid of, Fernandes I understand getting rid of, but I'm wondering if FPL Anderson could do Fernandes and Mane to... I know he can't. I just realised he can't because that's two midfielders, isn't it? Yeah, Fernandes and Mane to Sterling and Pulisic instead. FPL Anderson, if you're listening, that's what I would do. Fernandes and Mane to Sterling and Pulisic. There's something about Pulisic. God, the way he came on the other night against Liverpool, he looked... I'm going to be honest. I am... It's very, 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 very unlikely I'll do this. There's a small little possibility I may do a -4 to take Martial out for Pulisic, but mainly because Pulisic just looks so hungry, and Man United just look useless. Gavin Gould's here. Morning, pal. Clement LaRue. Morning, Steve-O. Martial only United cover or go with Mahrez? I've already got David Silva and Sterling. Do I triple up? Yes. Yes. Although I wouldn't have Mahrez, I'd have Kevin De Bruyne. There's something about Mahrez, he's really... It's just something about Mahrez that annoys me. I don't know what it is. Just watching that Watford game the other day, I know he didn't start, but even when he came on as a sub, he had no real impact whatsoever, so I'm Yassine, no Sterling, Steven. No, I can't afford to bring him in. Dread FPL's in morning. Late Risers in morning, power. Listen to your pod with FPL surgery. Very informative as per normal. I'm just here to tell you the luck will change this game. I bloody well hope so, mate. I bloody well hope so. I need the FPL gods, Late Riser. I need it badly. It only goes to Jason. I agree, Gavin Gould. I've taken a punt. Fernandes out for Son. Have you copied me? I just think Spurs looking better. Think different system. Oh, absolutely. Fernandes to me. Once again, what I found really cool about this pandemic is the simple fact that TV companies have allowed to show football for free. Now, I'm not suggesting for 1 minute it's helped me with any decisions whatsoever, but it allows me to see up on screen what's going on. And despite, as Late Risers just pointed out, certain aspects of luck going against me, i.e. what happened on the game against Chelsea with Liverpool, or Salah specifically. Watching Man United for the last 2 games, they have been absolutely awful. Jason's comments about them versus West Ham were damning. It was quite funny, actually, hearing him just so angry at just the way United were playing. It was all in their hands and they've just blown it. Leicester, on the other hand, hopeless. That game is possibly the tightest. I've got more faith in Pulisic than I have Martial. It's tempting me. It really is a case of, do I see Martial doing better or equaling Pulisic? If that's the case, it's a simple factor of, well, there's no point in doing a -4. However, Martial away from home, United looking sloppy, Chelsea on the other hand look great at home too. Must-win game up against a Wolves team that, yeah, they're okay defensively, but they do concede. Pulisic looking on fire. Could it be up for it? I'm tempted. I am very, very, very tempted. So yeah, we will see. Will I panic? I might do it. I might do it. Linguistic Man is saying, I think like most game weeks, but in particular this one, as long as your bench is okay, then you'll be in a better state. Have you seen my bench? Chris Wood, Holgate, Lascelles. Gavin Gould is thinking that Watford could beat Arsenal. Well, that's exactly what the history's saying. The history is saying exactly that. That is exactly what the history's saying. So, mate, Neil Thompson saying, I'm nervous. I'm worried about the reliability of the site as early team news drops. This is my prey. This is my hope. The site crashes and everybody's transfers mess up and the players that they were going to bring in aren't put in, and then the players that you've already got don't start, and it's a massive, massive headache. It won't happen. The likelihood of that happening is about 10%. But I don't see the site crashing whatsoever. I do have strong feelings, blimey. I mean, I mentioned the FPL surgery a minute ago. The other week, it was James Drury saying about that he's the host. He was saying that he doesn't like the early team news. I completely agree. I think, for me, it does spoil the game. I think that I use James from Planet FPL as a prime example. Like, I'm only saying this from a rivalry point of view, as a fantasy football manager. He found out that Traore was benched, and he just went, right, then I'm playing Danny Ings. And what happened was Danny Ings scored and Traore came on as a sub. And I can't remember specifically what the swing was, but it was something like 6-7 points. Well, if we didn't get the early team news, he wouldn't have got those 7 points. And I don't know, there's just, yeah, you could argue that, well, you know, if you got the information at hand, do it. But I don't know. For me, it's just taking away the fun of the game. I don't know. I mean, Davey FPL said it last night. He's going to be looking out for that early team news. Obviously, he's going to be doing his stream. I'm going to be having a right laugh watching it. I really will be. I'll be having a right laugh watching it. In fact, I'll be still watching it when we go live on air. We ain't going to get a copyright strike for that, Davey. Hey, Dre Zara, morning Harbour Boy. Only a few hours until chaos is unleashed. Oh my goodness, yeah. Well, you're part of it. And Notorious Nerd saying this feels like the morning before a uni exam. It does. It depends where you are regarding. I know you're doing really well, Notorious. I think you're, what was it, top 20, top 10, something like that. It depends where you are regarding mini leagues, overall rank, all that stuff, what you care about, what you don't care about. I personally have nothing to play for other than the pride of beating Davey FPL. So, or there's a chance, there's a tiny chance that the James Bang Mini League I could get 4th spot. There's the smallest, if all certain situations go my way and Salah pops up and actually gets me a double-digit haul and certain other players don't, certain other popular players, there's a very high chance I could get 4th spot. I'd be really proud of myself if I can get as high up in the James Bang Cash Mini League as possible, because for me, the people that are in that I respect a lot. And it's quite interesting because in a way, it's, for me, this whole start to the season has felt, well, the Project Restart has felt like as if it's like game week 1. And I've started off okay. You know, Bilal's had an absolute stormer. You know, he's 66 points ahead of me. But there's only 30 points separating myself in 13th and Manchester Reds in 4th. And if that triple captaincy swings my way, there's a chance that all these guys, Ryan Seachin, FPL Mechanic, Stevie Jackson, Ronald, Matthews, Aishi, Nathaniel, Jack Odell, Davey FPL, could swim my favour. But the people below me, you got Brew, Chris Atkinson, FPL Maestro. It's so tight. Look at it. It just goes down and down and down. I mean, there's no real gap at all. It's ridiculous. Look at it. It's so tight. So tight. So it's really up for grabs, those places. And like I say, for me to get in the top 4 would be extraordinary. For me to get in the top 10 would be, it'd be fantastic. But more importantly, for me to beat Davey FPL would be fantastic. He's got his free hit. He thinks I've got the advantage with the triple captaincy. Disagree. I think Davey, because he can choose whatever players he wants, I think he has got the advantage there, personally. But we shall see. We shall see. Drazera, 2 questions. What's the most important thing you learned this season as an FPL manager? And would you want me to have you on or just have you on only? Would you want me to have me on or just have you on only? Oh, I see. All right. Well, Dre, if you want to come on, I'm really not going to be going on for long, but you're more than welcome to join me just to have conversation. I'll be more than happy to have you on. So if you want to get into the waiting room, I'm pretty much going off air in about 25 minutes, 30 minutes, but I'd be more than happy to take your call. Let's just leave it at that. But in answer to your question, what have I learnt from this season? Well, without boring everybody again, basically it's go with my gut. I reckon, I said it last night, I personally think I've missed out on approximately 40 points, something like that. It's like Notorious Nerd says there, play your own game. I really do think I've missed out on between 40 and 60 points. Now, that doesn't mean anything within any certain cash mini leagues. However, it really does mean that... Wrong button. It basically means that, for argument's sake, let's just say, you know, I'd be on 2,189. Now, I don't know what on earth that equates to in overall ranking, but I would guess that would take me up to about the 100,000 mark-ish. That's at 60 points. But let's just say, from a pessimistic point of view, let's just say I would be on 2,169 points. I reckon I'd be about the 100,000. I mean, the easiest way for me to check is by just simply looking at, for example, Jason's team, who's on 2,197. He's 101,000. So I'd be about 120,000. Let's just say, for argument's sake, 120,000 20,000th. So certainly not going with my gut has been the biggest missed opportunity. To repeat myself, and I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record, examples being last week or the week before, whenever it was, I didn't even want to do a transfer, and I fell for the trap of bringing in Chris Wood for whoever it was. I can't remember who it was. And my original plan was just to play Greenwood. Well, because of that, I now don't have 2 free transfers, which is what I bloody wanted for the final day of the season. And I actually missed out on 3 or 4 points. Because I went against my own gut instinct. And it wasn't even a gut instinct, it was actually quite a quote-unquote logical thing. I said, here, Wood is not going to do much against Norwich. He didn't. He scored a freak goal. Burnley were absolutely appalling. They were awful. And that was against 9 men. Still couldn't score another goal. We had to get a flaming own goal from Godfrey. And even then, I reckon he put a bet on Burnley to win by 2 or more goals. Because that own goal was just ludicrous. And there was another incident as well where I said that I was going to be captaining. It's the famous one, isn't it? About always captain Kevin De Bruyne against the rubbish teams. So, i.e. today. And it was against Watford or Brighton. I think it was Brighton. And Kevin De Bruyne was a differential captaincy. I had it the whole week. And I fell down like a sheep. And I was just like, yeah, I'm just going to stick with the crowd mentality. Once again, missed out on about 10, 12 points because Kevin De Bruyne got a double-digit haul, and whoever I captained at the time, I think blanked or got me like nowhere near what he did, which was just pretty poor. So I'm going to bring on Dre Zera now. He wants to join me for 20 minutes or so, so let's bring him on. Let's answer some of your questions. I'll probably let him do all the talking now, but let's bring on Dre and... Morning, Dre. Hello, Dre. You are live on the Deadline Day Breakfast Show. We can hear you muffling away there. What we'll do is we'll bring Dre back in a minute while we go through.
Can you hear me?
Oh, there we are. Hello, Dre. You are with us.
Hello and good morning, evening, wherever you are listening from. Welcome to the Elite FPL Q&A before the mayhem begins.
It is the mayhem. Now, unfortunately, you can't join us for this afternoon's fun and games, but you all set for today?
Yeah, I feel... So I'm on a free hit. And the only thing I care about, because even though this has been the best season for me ever, I'm still nowhere near top 100k. So my only thing I'm thinking about is literally avoiding the wooden spoon in the host and moderator league. That's all I care about. And I hope that Matt, if you're listening right now, hopefully, my friend, you'll get that luxurious wooden spoon today.
Is there any chance you could just post your team in the team screenshots, please, while I just read out a couple more comments? So we'll get onto that in a second. So, Jerry Millin, good afternoon from Thailand. Hello, pal. Welcome. A notorious nerd just repeating, basically, funny enough towards Dre, but yeah, absolutely. Hashtag play your own game. It is an Elite FPL quote there. A notorious nerd making the point here, it's a one-game shootout today. It's difficult to predict the outcome. It certainly is. I'm looking forward to this, nerd and various other people. I'm really looking forward to that game which everybody doesn't expect to go the way it should do. For argument's sake, Leicester beating Man United 4-0. It's not going to happen, but there's a chance that it could happen. And I am going to be absolutely fascinated by certain scorelines. Dre, I'll ask you, is there any games which stick out which potentially could be banana skins for certain teams?
Well, stranger things has happened. I mean, the reverse fixture of Norwich, Man City. Nobody expected Norwich to win, and I believe Man City should win 99 times out of 100 to Norwich, especially with their predicament and squad situation. But with Pep Roulette, he could just field quite a few youngsters. You never know.
Right, so we've got your team up on screen here, and it's a free hit. You've gone out full major differentials here. For people listening on audio, it is Martinez, Williams. I have no idea who that City player is. Harwood?
Harwood Dallas.
Who's that?
He is so he's a young academy player. He's played in a couple of League Cup games. I have a feeling he might start. If he doesn't start or play at all, I've got Otamendi at first bench.
We got Azpilicueta, Salah, Sterling, Martial, Son, Pulisic, Samatta, Kane. I'm going to immediately ask you about Samatta. I'm going to have to do this. What's Samatta with you? Why Samatta? In all seriousness, what is it with him that makes you choose him?
Well, I'll be honest. The reason why I've decided to pick Samatta and what's the matter with me? Well, I'll tell you. I just feel that this is a must-win game for Villa, and I'm just thinking of a differential. I was thinking of Kyan Davis that also plays, or whatever his name is, usually plays up front as well. But Samatta gone off early in the Arsenal game, so I think he should be ready. And Davis is not listed as a striker, so I had to find some striking option for Villa.
You see, looking at this, I would be playing Solanke over Samatta. I think that there's more chance of Solanke doing better against whoever they're playing, Everton. My brain just went dead then. Than Samatta has got a chance against West Ham. West Ham, they're no mugs. I mean, yeah, defensively, yeah, but I just don't see Samatta doing anything. I'm not going to claim to be an expert on him, but he just doesn't strike me as somebody that's going to help Villa stay up. However, Solanke,
absolutely,
bit of form. I mean, you've got the power 5 midfield. Now, another question I'm drawn to. Son, captain. Tell us the reasonings behind that.
Well, so Matt, aka the Gouda, my main rival in this hosted moderator mini league, he told me that he's taken a -8 and he's going to captain Sterling, and I believe he won't lie to me. So I had to think to myself, well, I have to pick a differential captain here, and I think Son, with his form right now, and especially the history that he gave yesterday, but I decided this before that. I believe that Son could be rising in points, hopefully.
The another Tottenham player which I completely missed their name now. Gavin Gould has said, and I again completely agree. Lucas Moura. Now, I'm not suggesting I would take Lucas Moura over Son, but looking at your team here, if I was going for major differentials, I'd get rid of someone like Martial, have Lucas Moura, get rid of Samatta, bring in... I mean, I don't know what your funds are like. I mean, I certainly wouldn't have Azpilicueta. I wouldn't have this hard... I wouldn't be... Like, looking at this team, I wouldn't be risking players like Williams. Oh, Williams of Liverpool. Oh, sorry, I thought that was Man United. Williams. Tell us why Williams, then. You think he's going to start, do you?
I honestly think he's going to start, and
great.
And I feel, and also the thing is to get this team working, I had to get rid of Trent because otherwise I wouldn't get the funds. And yeah, I think for me, I thought I'd go a little bit crazy, well, very crazy, and literally not flock to the crowd. The only thing that I might change with this team is probably the Solanke Samata switch.
Wow, I look at this. I think get rid of Williams, get rid of this Harwood, get rid of Otamendi, get rid of Azpilicueta, and I haven't got actually my fixtures up on screen at the moment, but I'd be bringing in Aurier. I'd triple up on Tottenham. I'd bring in Aurier for starters, or a Tottenham defender, whichever one is the cheaper, whichever one can fit in your team. I'd certainly start a Man City defender, probably someone that's more nailed. Walker as an example.
The only worry I have with Lucas Moura is that Mourinho said that Dele Alli is past fit, I believe. So I'm worried about Moura's position in the team.
Oh, a positioning. Well.
Yeah, as in, like whether he's going to start and be on bench.
Oh no, he'll start. I think Mourinho will play the team that played the other day. I think he's got a win.
And also for me, I think Martial's on good form, and I need to have some Man United cover because I've only got one Man United against the game against Leicester, and I think it's up to Man United to get their energy up and find some form against an equally hapless Leicester at the moment. It's literally two people having a fight while they're sleepwalking at the moment. This Leicester Man United game if we're going on form.
I personally would be avoiding any games which have, I don't know, a lot riding on it. Leicester Man U, I would just, if I was on a free hit, get them gone. I would be bringing in players which have a bit more freedom in their matches, like Tottenham, as an example, Arsenal, as an example. City, you've only gone 2 City. Technically, you've got 3, but I would rather take David Silva ahead of Martial as an example. Despite what I said about Mahrez, I'd take Mahrez over Martial. I would not, in a free hit personally, I would not be going with Martial whatsoever. You're sticking with Salah. Again, I'm a bit of a hypocrite saying this, but do you really want Salah? Maybe free up funds.
Here's the funny thing. So obviously, I don't want to play devil's advocate here, but a Liverpool report from a close Liverpool source has said that Mane's got a niggle. Now he'll most likely play, but funnily enough, this is the first ever time this whole season I've got Salah in my team. So hopefully that could prove dividends. And also Salah is closer to the Golden Boot than Mane. So I think Salah will be motivated. Even though Mane could easily outscore Salah, that's the risk I'm going to take.
I think personally Salah blew it against Chelsea. If he'd have got a goal against Chelsea, I think then he would have been really fired up. He's what, 3 or 4 of Vardy? I think it's 4. He ain't going to get 4 against Newcastle. I mean, I hope he does, but he won't. You ready to take some questions?
Yeah, let's take some questions. Quite most of them are talking about my team.
Well, I was just gonna quickly ask you, this particular team here, of the 11, how many are definitely going to be in your team no matter what? Of the 11,
10 or 9.
Oh, so which 1 or 2 are definitely, or a bit here or there?
I mean, Harwood Bellis is the complete punt. I've heard nothing about him, but all I know is that Man City are pretty high on him, and he did play a few League Cup games. And what have Man City got to play for? And Samata for Solanke, that's the only other thing I'm thinking of. And I just feel that stranger things has happened. A lot of it is gut instinct as well. And also another thing with the goalkeeping situation, I wonder if Arsenal's going to rest Martinez, hence why I've got Macy on the bench.
I certainly think in your case, having a strong bench is absolute key to you doing well. But I personally would rather have a strong 11 and a weak bench, but a weak bench with starters. That's what I personally would go with. But you asked me a question earlier about what have I learned from this season. I already gave you the answer. A linguistic llama saying, I learned a few seasons back not to let Twitter influence my decisions. Have I listened? Have I heck? Bearing in mind that Twitter only makes up like 0.9% of overall managers. Hashtag gut play. I'll ask you the question. What have you learned from this season?
Well, firstly, I've learned to play my own game. Literally, play with your heart on your sleeve. Play with what you know. And literally just have fun with it, because we all love FPL here. This is a reason why we've got 57 people watching now, and you should all like this video. But also, I feel that sometimes FPL can be quite draining. So it's also very important to also enjoy the other things in life. And I think that's something that I've got to grips with, because obviously being a moderator on Elite FPL, being on these shows, obviously, and, focusing on FPL far more than I have done in previous seasons, you've got to balance things out in life.
Dread FPL, since the restart, I think he's just adding on here, but he essentially he's just saying, not consuming so much information, I've done much better. Gavin Gould saying, what I have learned is need to watch more football. Tick. Take less hits, be smarter instead, trying to make crazy transfers and being impatient. Vincent thinks that Davey FPL's playing mind games. The big question here that a lot of people are asking, like Mark back, I have Salah. I feel I should be swapping for Sterling. Now, obviously, you've got Sterling and Salah. People like myself are in... Well, I'm not in the same boat because I'm not getting rid of Salah, but this thought process on should I get Sterling in for Salah, what are your thoughts as a Liverpool fan?
So, thing is, I believe that Salah is... Even though Sterling should start, Pep Guardiola, just like FPL, he plays his own game. So, obviously, I don't want to play devil's advocate here, but I feel that if you have Salah and you're chasing and you don't have Sterling, I would keep Salah. But saying that, I feel that if you think Sterling's going to get far more points than Salah and you can afford a hit, then do it. It's a kind of a toss of the coin, really. I mean, both of them. I honestly believe both of them will get points.
Gavin Gould, why not captain Kane, Dre? He's a massive differential in the current form. He's on the way to Palace, which are terrible at defending. I'm in the same agreement. I think Kane is an absolute fantastic option. Honestly, if I could afford him, I'd bring him in and I would triple captain him. You are obviously going with Son captain. Is that 100% definite you're going to be doing that?
I'm going to nail with Son captaincy. I just feel that not only with the history that you've mentioned, but also with the fact that, as I said before, I thought to myself, well, Son is such a key component of the team, and Son can provide assists, Son can provide goals, and I just feel that Son is the catalyst for the team to run through that midfield and defence. And I just feel that Son has more bonus point potential than Kane, even though Kane has been gorging over these bonus points. So that's my decision. I don't think I'm going to budge away from Son, but I'm glad that I've at least got Kane, captain or not.
We've got a question here from Paul Williams. He's contemplating Foden and Rashford to Mahrez and Wood. My immediate thought there is I would not bother, although Foden, the likelihood of him starting is very, very, very unlikely. I would rather have David Silva instead of Wood. But yeah, Foden and Rashford to Mahrez and Wood.
I would say that's hard. I mean, Rashford is a bit firing blanks at the moment compared to with other Man United players, but Rashford is due a good haul, maybe. That's very difficult. I would say I think that can be sort as sideways a little bit, but I don't know. It's a hard choice. I wouldn't be in his position.
I personally, if I was in your position, he's 44,000th. If I was in your position, I'd do Foden and Rashford to, Foden to David Silva, and that's it. It's why I'm starting Greenwood for Chris Wood, to be honest with you. That game versus Brighton is going to be awful. Dre, your thoughts on the Burnley versus Brighton game? I was thinking 1-1.
We need sendings off. Otherwise, this game will be the cure for insomnia. But jokes aside, yeah, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be one goal either way. I think Burnley may nick it 1-0, but whoever's the correspondent's gonna be, if you're listening right now, and in hours' time, you're going to get the Burnley game. Well, good luck to you. That's all I'm going to say.
He says he doesn't have the money for a straight swap. Ouch. Then do what Notorious Nerd is saying. If Foden starts, keep. Unless, just go with it. All this talk here from Jazz 1967. If there's any penalty kick, if there's a penalty given to City, David Silva will basically take it. Your thoughts on this whole theories about David Silva? He's going to come off on the 21st minute to praise him for his 10 years at City, or wherever it's been. All this talk about any penalty that's given to him. Here you go, David. Take it. Yeah, what are your thoughts on this?
Sterling's gonna take the penalty firstly, because he's the closest to the golden boot. And on the point of David Silva, I remember when John Terry left Chelsea on his last game. He came off in the 26th minute. The thing is, though, is that I partly think that if there's already loads of goals before the 21st, it could either go one or two ways. Either that 21st minute with David Silva, I think that theory is plausible for the simple fact that Man City has an armory of riches, and I don't believe that David Silva will play in the Champions League either. And two, I think he'll play the full 90. It's going to be one of those two. I don't think there's going to be any in between.
Our mate Gianpaolo is saying, why don't you go Antonio, Dre?
Because I believe that the 5 players that I have are going to do better than Antonio. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. It's pretty much straightforward. Alex the Kid saying, the reason why Kevin De Bruyne was on penalties is because they kept missing them. Absolutely. I am aware that Guardiola was not happy when Sterling missed the penalty. He wasn't happy whatsoever. Notorious Nerd is saying the scenes when Antonio gets a hat-trick. I can't see it myself. Can I see him scoring? Yes. But can I see anybody do better than Dre's initial power 5-man midfield? No, it's just Martial. Martial's for me, it's a case of, do I get Martial out for... I'll ask you. What do you think on this -4, Dre? Martial out for Pulisic.
For me, Pulisic completely changed the game when he played Liverpool. And Pulisic is a very special talent. He's been a special talent for Dortmund, and I think if you got Pulisic, or you want to get Pulisic, get the American mustard Pulisic. Hopefully he'll christen you with goals.
But for a -4, though,
I think he can make up the difference.
You reckon he can make up the difference? Okay, it's something certainly I'll be. I doubt I'll do it, but it's something that I'd be certainly looking at. Mr. Blue Nathan, I'm already committed to David Silva. With 0 minutes last game week, so sticking with him. Absolutely, I think that David Silva is the perfect Man City pick, and to be honest with you, I can see him getting a minimum of a double-digit haul, in the sense of 10 points minimum, maybe a maximum of 15, something like that. Gavin Gould saying Villa could beat West Ham. Absolutely, they're desperate. Grealish could shine. Grealish, somebody that's just not done anything, has he? This Project Restart.
I mean, he's done. I mean, to be fair, Villa have been quite hopeless in most of the games, and if Grealish has done something, it doesn't translate to FPL points. So, next.
Paul Williams is very, very got a very, very interesting dilemma here. I'm assuming he's typing out his team right now, but the fact that anybody that's in the very, very high rankings regarding, say, Davey FPL or Paul here, who's 44,000th, obviously it depends on what your circumstances are regarding certain mini leagues, but would you say that if you are pretty high up in the rankings, let's just say for argument's sake, top 50k, do you think to hell with it, just go with differentials? Do you just think, no, stick with the quote-unquote safety options?
I would say, if I was in their position, if the points gap is such that you feel like you can go a little bit expressive, go expressive. But if you think it's a bit squeaky time, then I feel don't go too expressive. But I always say, like, go with whatever you feel. I mean, you gotta play, as G Wiz has said, you gotta play your own game. I feel that you don't want to dictate too much what's around you, but at the same time, you want to be mindful. You want to keep yourself right at that top pedestal.
Absolutely. And on that note, like I said, this was only going to be a short stream. I'm going to end it there. Thanks everybody for joining me on this impromptu deadline day breakfast show. The question for you, Dre, is that how confident are you getting a decent score with that team?
Deep down, I'm honestly a little bit nervous because we're at the home straight, but I feel that this is a team that I want to go for, and I think the way I want to answer it is, if it flops or if it does well, at least it's under my own guys. I'm not overbeared with so much Twitter zombies. I literally am going with what my heart's saying, and if I flop or not, then at least it's on me.
Absolutely. And on that note, I will say this: good luck to everybody this afternoon. Please make sure that you join myself and Jason this afternoon at 3 o'clock. It's going to be myself, Jason, along with 8 other correspondents, looking at all the matches for the next. Well, we'll be on till about 6:30, so it's going to be a very, very long stream indeed. And I hope to see as many of you guys there as possible, because it's all going to be a lot of fun. Dre, have you got any final thoughts before we finish?
All right. Well, before we go, guys, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for Steve-O for inviting me. But if you're listening in for the very first time, please give this video a like. Give this channel a subscribe. We are not called Elite FPL for nothing. And if you check out the Streamlabs link on the side, then please go ahead, join our Discord. Our community is fun, and literally on the run-up to the deadline day, ours is literally going to be as frantic as anything.
Yeah, for people that aren't part of the Discord, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's essentially just a bunch of people that enjoy talking fantasy football. And on that note, Dre, I'll let you go, and I'll speak to you later.
Thank you very much, Steve-O, and enjoy the deadline stream.
Cheers, dude. That's Dre Zara there, and on that note, yep, like he said, if you are completely brand new around here, just simply hit the subscribe button and join us this afternoon at 3 p.m. Other than that, thanks for joining me this morning, and I will see you in the next 6 hours or so. Take it easy.